Hello everybody, I'm Ken Panagopoulos and this is another episode of The Lazy Gourmet. Today I'm really excited to be helping you make or having you watch me make a traditional Greek Spanakopita. Now this Spanakopita, as it's pronounced in Greek, is going to be kicked up a notch, actually a couple of notches. What I'm going to do with this is actually not only add spinach, but I'm also going to add Swiss chard, and I'm also going to add kale. That's right, Swiss chard and kale, plus the spinach, and I'm going to throw in a red pepper, a sweet red pepper. Love these things. It's going to give it a different flavor altogether. It's going to enhance the flavor that's already there. Plus, I'm going to kick up the feta content of this, because we can't forget of the feta. This will actually produce, this block will produce about 2 cups of crumbled feta. And what I think everybody should do is crumble their own cheese, grate their own cheese, always buy it in bulk or in a block and then grate it down. Much better taste, much fresher. It just tastes better overall. So the way we're going to get this dish started is we're going to start by chopping up and sauteing our veggies. So what I'm going to do to start is preheat our pan, our pot actually, to saute this down. What I'm going to do now is slowly start chopping up our Swiss chard and our kale. I'm adding a few glugs of this extra virgin olive oil to this pan here. Get that going, and very slowly and carefully just start chopping up the Swiss chard into 1 centimeter, ½ an inch thick pieces, just like that. Nothing complicated to this. And slowly start moving it in to our pot. In this case, I don't use butter, I use olive oil, which is an added benefit right there. And also, I don't use butter in the phyllo crust as well. Okay, so next is our star, the spinach, which goes in. As our greens are getting sauteed and are being wilted down, I'm going to start using my food processor to add the other ingredients, which is the onions. In this case, I'm using 3 smallish onions, 1 fairly normal onion or a large onion will work for this totally fine. And I just like using the food processor only because it makes everything super easy and I only have to clean up one thing. And here we go with our 3rd onion. Just throwing that in there. There we go. Next is our red pepper. I love using red pepper. Red pepper just makes everything so much better. And again, really coarse chop. Just like that. Put it into the food processor as well. And we have some stems from parsley that I had. Those are going to go in there as well. Parsley, onion, red pepper, amazing. This is a really delicious accent to an already timeless dish. From here, I'm going to take our food processor and just whiz this up real quick. All right, that's perfect. So now the next step to this is taking basically everything that was in our food processor and putting it into our saucepan. Here you can see our mixture, which is going to be the filling for our pita, doing absolutely amazing. All the flavors are in. The spinach, the Swiss chard, the kale has wilted down. The pepper, onion is doing its thing. So our kale, Swiss chard, and spinach have finished sauteing. They have wilted down and they're doing very well. They're just cooling down now. The next step is critical. I have the greens cooling down only because If I add my egg and feta mixture to them now when they're too hot, I'm gonna get basically a spinach and egg, a spinach and feta omelet. So the next step to this is I take 3 eggs and just throw them in my little bowl here. I still do the two-handed egg cracking only because I find that I get less eggshells or no eggshells in my bowl. So from there, just gonna beat these just like that. Nothing complicated to this. If you can make an omelet, you can make this dish. All right, excellent. Those are ready to go there. The next step is my feta. Here is a piece that's gonna give me approximately 2 cups of crumbled feta. And this is the key for this dish. Again, going back to our rule, I crumble it up by hand. Big pieces, small pieces, it really doesn't matter. And, oh, this feels so good. This is like, it's actually therapeutic. But anyway, this is, you crumble your feta up like this, and I prefer that you get your feta from any place that is in block form like this, and you crumble it up yourself. It just tastes better that way. It's fresher. And that beep was our oven, which is preset to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, about 160 degrees Celsius, I think, but 350 Fahrenheit for sure. And I'm just gonna crumble this in, big pieces, small pieces, just like that. And this may be a little bit small, but just carefully I'm gonna fold this in. So what I'm gonna do now is just real quick, wash my hands again. I love cooking with my hands. I just can't stand working with dirty hands or with messy hands. So I'll just leave that here. And what I'll do is I'll just take my egg mixture, my scrambled egg and feta, and just slowly just incorporate this. This is actually key in the sense that once this gets blended in with the veggies, the liquid from the spinach and the Swiss chard and the kale will actually help liquefy this. And it's just turning into almost like a paste, if you will. But this is actually what makes it. Also in this recipe, what I do in most of my recipes where I do use feta or any kind of a sharper cheese, what I try to do is cut back or eliminate the addition of salt. I don't add any extra salt, only because this is salty enough. And even though the feta that I buy in those small, 4-pound pails, I still tend to change the water. So I switch out the brine right when I get it. I spill it out, I empty it out, and I add just regular water, filtered water or tap water to the feta. And what that does is it actually takes some of the salty or the brininess out of the cheese. It actually rounds out the flavor more, which is actually a nicer way. I enjoy it more anyway. So this mixture is ready to go. So we're gonna take this, move this actually here. I'll put this in the sink. I'll move this out of the way. So what I'm doing now is setting up the pan for the pita itself. And for this, what I'm going to use is, instead of butter, olive oil. This is key. It will give you that unique and distinct Greek taste, that flair that butter can't give you. I'm all for butter when it comes to pastries and for sweets, but when it comes to traditional dishes like this, well, sort of traditional, what I do is I always use olive oil. So for this, I'm just gonna put in maybe a tablespoon or so into our pan and just move it all around so that way the phyllo dough won't stick to this as it's baking. Just very simply, just like that. And for this recipe here, what I usually do is I do about 3 deep on the bottom and about 3 deep on the top. It doesn't have to be anything. And these are pieces, the truth be known, these are pieces that I had lying around from another recipe that I had made. And as long as it's within a few days, you can totally use it. It's totally fine. Just put it in just like that. So you're lining the bottom. This is actually still part of our first layer. So what's going to happen is, as I finish doing this, you're going to see that I'm going to line this with olive oil. And again, some olive oil, just like that. And you can see inside, this is absolutely amazing. And the color of the olive oil plus the phyllo is amazing. And this is a 14-inch pan, round pan, that's about 2.5, maybe 3 inches deep. And for this will easily make 8 to 10 pieces, pie-shaped pieces. And people, if I can do this, I promise you, you can do this as well. Nothing complicated to this at all. And now what I'm going to do is just add our last layer on the bottom, which is the third layer, just like that. And it's super easy. It's actually a great dish to make if you're as an appetizer, as a starter course, or if you're having people over and you want to have like a quick munchie. You can even freeze these things. Make them ahead, and at this stage, before you bake them off, simply just throw them in a freezer, and the next time, basically, you're ready for company. You have something ready that's fresh, delicious, and nutritious. So there's the last layer of that. For the bottom, put that in. Olive oil. I cannot use enough olive oil, and as far as I'm concerned, not that I'm biased or anything, but I am sort of. You should be putting olive oil on your breakfast cereal. That's how good olive oil is, and how the benefits of using olive oil in everyday cooking. And a lot of people have done specials on longevity and how it affects your health. There's a reason why people around the world, whether it be in Japan, South America, Greece, the island of Korea, have gone so long, living into their 90s, because of a simple diet. So this is the bottom portion of our phyllo done in our pan for our Spanakopita. And now the next step is to incorporate all the egg mixture that we have with the feta into our spinach with the kale and the Swiss chard. Just going to move this off to the side now. Put this here. Move our pan over here and grab our mixture here that's already been cooling. Still a little warm, but it's much cooler than what it was before. And what I'm going to do now is the spinach with the Swiss chard, the kale, and the red pepper is all coming together. It's all coming out now along with the onion. And all we're going to do is take our mixture here and just mix it in here, put it in just like that. And all you're going to do for this is simply just mix it around just like that. Now you can actually start getting a real smell of what this is going to taste like. You could also, I didn't in this recipe, but you could also throw in some spice in terms of hot pepper, but I'm going to serve it to people that may or may not like heat. And we all know what our philosophy is with heat and spice. Spice should feel good and taste good. And not everybody appreciates what the effects of spicy peppers. All right, so that's done. Now take this and just slowly, or not so slowly, put it in there, just like that. I'm gonna move this over here and just level this out. This smells amazing, and it actually looks amazing too. So we're gonna just even it out here. I like my pitas to be at least, I know, at least an inch in thickness in terms of filling. I don't like those wussy pitas that are like, you know, a quarter of an inch thick or whatever. That's just not my thing. So if you're going to take a bite of something, and especially if it's something that's so delicious, you really want to have that taste or that explosion of flavor in your mouth. So this is ready to go here, just like that, and there's nothing to it. The next part of this is the upper layers of our phyllo. So I'm going to put this here like that, and same thing, just start dressing the top. Put this like that here, and again 2-3 sheets, doesn't need more than this. Put that down like that there, so that's one. And this, in between each layer, I think maybe a teaspoon of olive oil will do the trick. You don't need much more than that, only because it will actually produce some of its own moisture, and you want to use it for not just flavor but a little crispiness. And this again, I'm going to separate the sheets. There's one sheet there, and these, like I said before, were sheets that I was using that were cut up from another recipe that I had left over from a couple days ago. So I'm just using them. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as it doesn't take, they're not too old and they become brittle, it's totally fine. So there's this too as well. That goes in. Just like that. Again, olive oil. And again, not much. There's not much that's really needed to this. You just put it down slowly and do your thing. Oh, and I got one left. So that'll work out perfectly. I just put that in the center here, just like that, which has worked out really well for me. So, real quick. And that's just perfect there. Now, with the edges, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the edges and I'm going to actually fold them into the pan. So from here, I'm not a fan of cutting anything up. What I'm going to do is just twist them, just like that. And as I twist things over these sheets, they're also going to seal over the edge of the pan, and that's going to actually give it a really, it's going to actually look good as well, because these will brown first and actually create a little bit almost like a frame for this. So there's that. Take a little olive oil just all around, just like that. And we're ready to go. This now is going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 30 to 40 minutes, or until the top is actually a nice golden brown. You don't want it to go too dark, maybe like a deep honey color, and that's it. So this is it here. It's ready to go in the oven. I'm just going to take it, toss it in my oven, 350 degrees for 35 minutes. And when this is done, I'll be back and show you how it turned out. All right, and now, my dear friends, the moment of truth. It's been about 40 minutes since our pan went in with our Spanakopita, our kicked up Spanakopita. Now it's time to see what we've done. Ooh, and it is done perfectly. Here it is, all ready to go. It's actually, I want to tilt that up for you, so I'm going to take another glove out here just to see. It is done absolutely wonderfully. This is it here. The color is amazing. It's excellent. The smell is absolutely, it's unbelievable. I'm getting the notes of the feta, the spinach, the Swiss chard, the kale. It's all coming out wonderfully. I cannot tell you how great this smells. So what the next thing to do is, I would leave this for about half an hour to 45 minutes just to let it kind of settle, cool off in the middle, so that way as you cut into it, you won't have everything just kind of running out and all over the place. So that's it. I thank you very much for watching. This has been fun for me. I hope you learned something. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up. and please subscribe. I love getting new subscribers. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. I'm Ken. Bye for now.